So today we're going to be talking about NGO governance, which is what I'm excited about because, like I said, the reason why I'm doing this is because I travel to NGOs around the country, and I just find out that these nonprofits cannot outlive its founder. The nonprofits are not sustainable, and things are not where they need to be. You know, you would go to an NGO and you will find out that their paperwork is not correct. They don't have the governance structures that they need. And I'm just telling you, NGO governance is the very foundation of a successful and sustainable organization. So if you want a successful and sustainable organization, you need to look at governance. So initially, I was only going to talk about governance for 1 week, but I've talked about it this past week. I'm going to now go over it the next week in a lot of my posts and in a lot of my content. So we're going to be talking about NGO governance. I think I was having a chat with someone, and she was like, she was talking about national governance, and that is another ball of wax. That is a thematic area of some very passionate NGOs that I'm very excited about. But what we're talking about now is governance, okay? Now, if you are someone that is passionate about nonprofit organizations and want to join the board of directors of a nonprofit, this presentation is for you. If you are somebody who is thinking about running a nonprofit, this presentation is for you. Hello, Stella. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. You're the founder of the Foundation for Women Empowerment. Thanks for coming, Stella. I was just talking about you. I was just talking about the comment that we had back and forth yesterday about the type of governance. And in this case, we're going to be talking about NGO governance because for me, it is the very foundation of a successful nonprofit that will outlive its founder. Okay, so if you find that a nonprofit cannot outlive its founder, if you decide to go on an international appointment, because Stella, you can go on a multilateral agency can reach out to you. Love you too. A multilateral agency may reach out to you and say, hey, we want to give you an appointment, and it's too good not to take. You want your organization to still be there. You want a succession plan where you can hand it over through your board. You can hand it over to somebody else, and the organization will keep running. So that is what we want, okay? So what we want to do now is just to talk about governance. Now, if you have not set up your governing board, this is a good time to do it. So if you have founded your nonprofit and you have not, you have a few people in your trustee list with the CAC, fine, call them up and set up a board meeting if you haven't already. But if you're thinking about starting a nonprofit organization, you can now start your board meeting. How do you do that? Just write a list of people that you know. We all know at least 100 people. So for example, if you have a list of people that are passionate about women empowerment, okay, just like your organization, Stella, you have some people that are passionate about women empowerment, and you say, okay, this my friend is an HR specialist. She'll be able to help me with governance and structure for my organization. Or this person is an accountant and they're also passionate about women empowerment. So what you need to do is actually reach out to these people and say, hey, this is what I'm doing with my organization. Okay, this is what I'm doing with my organization. Can you join the board? Okay, and if they agree, if they say yes, I want to join your board, awesome. Okay, now you now schedule your board meeting. You now schedule it at a time that's convenient for all of them. You need to get 1, an accountant, 2, a governance specialist, 3, a media practitioner, 4, a program specialist, somebody that's good with programming and development work, 5, somebody that has relationships with your donor public, with people who are in the donor community. Okay, because they will have the networks, They'll be able to do the introductions for you to actually meet these people. So these are the 5 key people you need to have within your organization. Others could be other passionate enthusiasts that have other specialties, maybe somebody that's good with strategy, maybe somebody who is good with branding, somebody who is good with technology. Fine. Once you have at least these 5 people, then you can never add another 5, which is 10. Why do you want at least 10 people? Because when 4 people cannot make your board meeting, you can at least have a quorum. Okay? So once you invite people to your board meeting, what do you need? What are the accomplishments of that board meeting? Let me explain to you. In your first board meeting, before your lawyer sends your CAC documentation to CAC, what you need to do is schedule the board meeting, address key things. 1, your bylaws, which is the constitution of your organization. 2, your executive committee, who is the chairperson, who is the vice chairperson, who is the secretary, who is the treasurer. The secretary by default will be you, the founder, and the executive director, because you are by default a member of the board as the board secretary. You are the only staff and member of the board of directors of your organization. Okay? So once you schedule this board meeting, you are able to elect your executive committee. You're able to agree on the bylaws of the organization in terms of when elections will happen, what is the tenure of each board member, and standard operating procedures of your organization. That is what you should agree on in your first meeting. Also, you can even agree on what you're going to name your organization, its vision and mission. And you as the founder has to do most of the work because you are the one that came up with the organization. You are the one that called them together. So come up with at least 10 names for your organization. What are the names I want to name my organization? That's if you don't have an organization already. But if you have an organization already and you don't have a functioning board, you have a docile board that's just on your paperwork that you ask to update their passport photographs when you need to do annual filing or when you need to do one thing or the other with the bank. No. If you don't have a set of board members that are active, then you need to get on the ball, because if not, the organization will rest solely and squarely on your shoulders. And if anything happens to you, if you have an appointment, what if one governor comes into office and says, okay, I want to appoint you as the commissioner of housing. I want you to appoint you as the commissioner of women affairs. You will now be looking. You can't do it. Or you will be wondering how your organization is going to be. So it is in your interest as a founder to have a functioning governing board. Okay? So once you now have set up your meetings, you have set up your standard operating procedures, you set up your executive committee, then it is time for you to now it is time for you to now say, okay, now that we know our organization, we know our vision, our mission, we have our executive committee of the board of directors, then it is now time to now say, okay, let us talk about our strategic plan. Our next board meeting will talk about our strategic plan. And the next board meeting has to be after you have filed their names to the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria to make sure that at least it is on the roll. And then, of course, you will need to be in a publication for at least 21 days. So your board meeting should at least be quarterly, because all that should have happened before your next board meeting. You should have had feedback from your lawyer. You should have had feedback from CAC by your next board meeting. In addition to that, what you need to do, I'm going to backstep a bit. What you need to do is make sure that your board members are not questionable characters. You don't want somebody who is in trouble with EFCC. You don't want somebody who has a questionable character on your board, because it will reflect negatively on you as an organization. So that is a caveat that I need to mention. In addition to that, after doing all those things that I've mentioned before, you now need to schedule another meeting, another quarterly meeting. Once you have things going, then you need to start discussing your strategic plan. Okay? Once you discuss your strategic plan, you need an external consultant to come and discuss your strategic plan. If you have a consultant that's a member of your board, if they have a firm, they can bring a member of their team to come and facilitate that process, where you do a SWOT analysis, you do your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You do a competitive analysis. You do an environmental analysis. Okay, what's the climate in the sector of what I'm dealing with? Who are my stakeholders? Who are my donors? You will be discussing all these things within your board meeting, because the consultant will need that data to help you formulate your strategic plan. Okay, and with your strategic plan, you will have your theory of change, which will now be the bedrock of your program design. Once you now design your programs, you will have activities that will then be costed for maybe the next 1 to 5 years, okay, in terms of what that strategic plan looks like. Okay, if you need help with that, you need coaching with that, you can always send me a WhatsApp message. Okay, I'll put my phone number in the cards for you to get. So it is important for you to now develop your strategic plan. Okay, so it's from that strategic plan that that will be the bedrock of what your board members will now monitor. Okay, your board members will monitor that strategic plan, because they are not staff. It is not their job to manage your organization. It is not their job to manage programs. No. The strategic plan is the very foundation of what your board members are going to monitor within your organization. They are just saying the strategic plan is a map. It's saying this is where we are and this is where we want to go. And then the process of how we're going to get there will be highlighted in the strategic plan, and it will be costed financially. And then you even put down who are the donors you're going to reach out to get the money to actually meet the objectives of your organization that will eventually meet the vision and the mission of your organization. So your strategic plan is an important document that your board members will be looking at. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to explain to you. So if you're an organization that wants to become an institution, it is important that you have an active governing board. Leap Africa has an active governing board. Junior Achievement has an active governing board. Faith Foundation has an active governing board. I can list successful organizations from head to toe that have successful governing board members. You know, even the chairperson of Yaga Africa said the same thing. He says a lot of NGOs in Nigeria have successful executive directors, but they lack a strong governing board. Okay, so make sure you have that in place. I've already talked about the foundation of what you need. After you have developed your strategic plan, you can also decide on, okay, we need auxiliary committees of this very board so that we can split the strategic plan into short-term bites. You can have a programs committee chair. Who will be the chair of that committee? The volunteer in your board that is technically savvy with regards to programming. Okay, programming, especially with monitoring and evaluation, because they'll be monitoring the efficacy and the efficiency of your programs. Okay, so you have that person chair that committee, and then other volunteers will now become members of that committee. They will monitor your theory of change. They will monitor your program design and implementation strategically. They are not the ED. Okay, then you have the marketing and communications committee. I posted a couple of posts ago. I said a media practitioner came to me and said, look, I want to start an organization, but I'm very busy with my career, you know, and I have kids in college, I have obligations, and I don't have the time to run an NGO, because running an NGO, as you know, Stella, is a commitment. Okay, so I said, easy. Just join the board of an organization that you are passionate about. And someone like him can chair the Media and Communications Committee of the board, because the strategic objective of the board of directors with regards to the brand of the organization will now rest on your shoulders strategically. So that's media and communications, okay? Then you now have governance. The governance will now look at the bylaws of the board. Are they outdated? Are people outstaying their tenure? Is it time for elections? What do we need to do with regards to the board? Let's keep everything governance. They will even monitor in terms of the CAC filings, making sure that there are annual filings done within the organization. And these committees will hold the executive director accountable to their individual areas of their strategic plan of the board of directors. So I hope you are understanding what I'm saying. The board of directors provides strategic oversight of the organization. If you want to get any funding from a bilateral agency like DFID, they won't even touch you. If you do not have a functioning governing board, they will not touch you. They will say you cannot be held accountable. This organization can just dissolve in 5 minutes. Okay? With the organization, you also need to have a succession plan. Okay? So a succession plan. So with that, with the governance committee of the board, a succession plan will now say, in case anything happens to the executive director, how would the succession plan look like? How long does the executive director have to give us before he or she leaves the position? How are we going to hire the next executive director? Who will be the interim executive director? Will we pick somebody from the board that will be the interim till we hire somebody else? There needs to be an outline plan, succession plan for your board. Okay? So it's very important that you have these things in place. So I've just connected everything with your strategic plan. And I have a course called NGO Fundraising for Social Impact. If you are interested, you can send me a WhatsApp message and I can get the product to you. It's a digital product and you can really consume it. Over 5 hours worth of content on fundraising, and it's still connected to the strategic plan, which is still connected to governance. So if you do not have a good governing board, how are you even able to fundraise? How are you even able to fundraise? You understand what I'm saying? If you want to get serious funding and you want to be an institution, not just an NGO on the corner, if you want to be an institution, you need to have a good governing board, because then you have a strategic plan. Then you are able to have a fundraising plan. And then you're able to reach out to donors. If donors, the first thing donors will even ask you, when donors hire me to go and assess NGOs for certain projects, or they hire me to go and evaluate a program or an activity, I go to the NGO and I ask you, where is your strategic plan? Where is your succession plan? It is from that strategic plan that you even create the policies and the administrative arm, the program and the administrative arm of your organization. Okay, so after that, one thing that you also need to do is also ensure that minutes are written from your board meeting. Why is that? Because when a bilateral agency or a donor or a multilateral agency wants to assess your organization, they will ask you, can we have what is the frequency of your board meetings? Is it twice a year? Is it once a quarter? Can I see a copy of your board minutes? What are you going to say? Are you going to be looking at them like a deer in headlights? Or you're going to say, sure, ma'am, I have that information for you. I'll give it to you right away. A good governing. So if you don't have a board right now, look, we learn every day. You know, it's okay. Let's start one now. Okay? Select out the people you want to select, invite them for a meeting, start taking those minutes. If you've already started program and activities, just include them in your strategic plan and then get the ball rolling. So even if a donor, a bilateral agency comes to you and says, what's the frequency of your board minutes or meetings? Can I have your minutes? You say, okay, well, as an organization, we were not aware of the importance of having a governing board, but now we have done it. These are current minutes. These are board members. This is our annual CAC filing. They are included in our CAC filing. Make sure they are included. So if you're an organization that says, okay, we've not had regular board meetings, and my sister and my cousin and mom and them, they are in my CAC documentation, fine. Invite the people that you want to join. Include them in your next CAC filing, okay? Make sure you do your audited financials and then turn it into CAC. Simple. And then you add them in, and then you continue life as usual. If their tenure is 3 years, good. Make sure it's like 3 years, okay? And then the tenure of the executive committee could be 2 years or 3 years, however you want it done. And the governance committee monitors that. So what have I said to you people so far? And if you have any questions, please write it down in the comments. I want to answer any questions you may have concerning governance. I want to answer any questions that you may have concerning NGO governance. I'm very passionate about this. If you need one-on-one coaching on this, you can always reach me on WhatsApp at 0703-539-8086. I'll put that down in the cards, okay? You can send me a WhatsApp message if you want one-on-one coaching on getting your structure, because if your foundations are not there, your organization will not survive. I think I said one time there was an organization that I had to go do an assessment for in Enugu, very successful nonprofit organization. It was a gender-based organization working on gender-based violence, working on women in politics, working on various initiatives. Their founder had an international appointment in Geneva. There was no succession plan. Everything was in limbo. You don't want to be like that. And eventually, sadly and unfortunately, she passed away. So you want a situation where you have a succession plan, you have a good governing board so that your organization outlives you. Okay? So if you have any questions about this, you can always WhatsApp me we can do like a one-on-one consultation, and then I can walk you through it. Okay? It's important for you to have that. Send me a WhatsApp message. That is my WhatsApp business number. You can always reach me there, so that I can hold your hand, and then we can start this journey together. Even if you're an organization that have impacted lives unspeakable, and you don't have your governance rights, how can, a lot of us, the reason why I'm so passionate about nonprofit organizations is because I feel like NGOs are the last frontier of accountability to government. Whether or not you're a humanitarian organization, whether or not you're a programmatic organization that works on a case-by-case basis, whether you're an advocacy organization, no matter what kind of organization you are the last frontier of accountability to government. Because when you're holding government accountable, you want good governance. But how can you be holding somebody accountable for good governance when you don't have your governance together? You need to work on your governance. When you work on your governance, then with governance, there's transparency and there's accountability. And they keep saying the NGO bill. If we NGOs had our stuff together, where our governance was clear and transparent, there wouldn't be an issue of such. Okay, and I know there are a lot of other things to consider, because maybe they are held accountable. They don't like that kind of accountability on them. But if you are transparent, none of this will bother you. Okay, so ensure that there's good governance. So if there are any questions, please let me see your questions so that I can answer them. On NGO governance. If there are any questions, let me know if you have any questions, because I really want to make this an interactive session for each and every one of you. I will continue this engagement even after this live streaming. because we had issues with Facebook telling me to upgrade some certain parts of my browser and all that to use their new live streaming, which is fine. I just wish I was aware of this earlier. So if you have any questions for me on governance, let me know. All I'm going to tell you is this: governance is the foundation of a successful NGO that is an institution for change. If you don't have your governance together, if you're not having board meetings, and somebody cannot hold you accountable as a founder and executive director, there is a serious problem, and you are limiting yourself with regards to the kind of money you can get as an organization, because a lot of these bilateral agencies and multilateral agencies and high-level donors require that level of transparency from non-profit organizations in Nigeria. Okay, so like I said, if you need consultation, send me a message. Also, I have NGO Fundraising for Social Impact. It's a very powerful online course where it talks about what you need to do as an organization to get ready to raise funds. Okay, I have successful NGOs that are speakers. I have a donor, someone who works with a donor, Mr. Jude Illo, Dr. Yudi Okon. I have Hamza Lawal, from Follow the Money, an award-winning development practitioner. And then I also teach on organizational identity, on institutional capacity, and I talk about various things you need to do as a nonprofit to get ready to even start to raise funds. Okay, so if you need that, you can WhatsApp me there for all the information that you need to get that course. You need to get it. I'm only having it on sale for 10,000 naira till the end of the month. After this month, the price is going up because the value is humongous. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you concerning that. And also, if you have any questions concerning, so for the next 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, I'll still be engaging on this post. So if you have any questions on governance, let me know. And I look forward to talking to you much later in this feed. Hello, Patience. Thank you for reaching out to us all the way from, I believe, Uganda. So thank you so much, Patience. I appreciate you following me and interacting with me. Okay, so take care, you all. Bye-bye.